Hey, greetings, everyone. It's Naomi Wolf with Daily Clout and with Outspoken, and I'm joined today by a really interesting guest who I think whose journey or whose kind of life changes really encapsulates what so many, I would say millions of families are going through. That's a big reason I wanted to speak with her. She's known colloquially as Doormat Mom. Which I know already will make many of us resonate and spark interest. But her name is Laura Wellington. And greetings, Ms. Wellington. Welcome to Outspoken.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Speak up a tiny bit.
Sure.
Okay, great. So I have so much media in my inbox about you. You're doing a round of appearances. People are very, very interested in what you've had to say. What you have to say. You've been featured in People magazine. You've been on Fox News. A million outlets, it seems, are clamoring to talk to you, understandably. Tell me in your own words, like, who are you and what happened to bring you to this moment?
Well, up until about August 2024, I was just a regular mom, a businesswoman, an author, a children's television creator.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a serial entrepreneur for my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
4,
Wow.
yeah, so 4 from a marriage where I lost my husband to cancer when I was 35.
So sorry.
Thank you. And then 1 from a very short marriage in 2009. And, like so many other parents out there, I love my kids. I did whatever I needed to do for my kids. I was there for my kids. I was despite all of, what I had gone through and the various demands I had on me, I was very hands-on as a parent. Was very keep my door open, have them talk about anything and everything. Never missed a play, never missed a school conference. I really, because they had lost their father so young, I really didn't want them to lose their mom too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very conscious of that in raising them. So I think I lived 2 people's lives in one body for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then what ended up happening in 2024 was I became estranged from my youngest daughter, my 4th child. And it came out of the blue to me. It was heart-wrenching because I would never have expected to be on the other side of an estrangement.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no real lead up to it per se. There wasn't a conversation, hey mom, let's sit down and talk about, you're bothering me in this, and this, or mom, you need to pull back, and anything like that. It was, she had graduated college, and I put her through college. She had graduated college. She had gotten a job in a very difficult profession in a very difficult marketplace, but she had gotten it. She was, doing well in her job. She was making ends meet. And then she decided that she was going to quit her job. She was going to start traveling around the world. And she explained to me why, there were concerns, obviously, her mother. But when she explained to me why she wanted to do it, it seemed reasonable, a young person wanting to discover life before she gets really settled into a career. Mm-hmm. And so, I bought her suitcase, and she was off and running, and she started traveling. We were talking, every week, every 2 weeks. She was showing me where she is, what she's doing. And then she eventually landed in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was in Australia, she came to me and told me that she wanted to stay there, and that she asked if I would pay for her law school there. And if I paid for her law school, she would then pay me interest on the money I loaned her when she graduated. And I was, I had paid for all of my kids' schooling, all of my kids' secondary schooling.
Mhm.
I've gotten a number of doctors in the family and whatnot. But in this particular circumstance, I felt because she was making such decisions like on the fly that she needs, and she's a full grown adult and she had just left a job, she could pay for law school. And I always had the option of saying at the end when she finished, I can take those bills off your hand. But I've wanted to see, was she really going to go and was she going to finish? Because I wasn't quite sure.
Mhm.
And
Excuse me, can I jump in? Were you concerned that she wouldn't follow through, that it would be like good money after bad because she had thrown up her job previously? Is that what you were worried about?
yeah, I wasn't quite sure she was going to finish.
Right.
She was making, decisions. It wasn't like she went from the track of going from college to then saying, Mom, I need to be a lawyer. I want to go to law school.
Mhm. Right.
She'd been out on her own for a year.
Right.
She'd been working for a year.
Right.
She had decided to leave that job.
Mhm.
And now she was traveling.
Right.
So, she's a full grown adult at that point.
Mhm.
And
Right.
and like I said, I always had the option of saying when she finished, but I wanted to see her finish. And I
Right.
was convinced that she would. And,
You've explained it. Please
yeah,
keep going. I understand.
yeah. And then, so 3 weeks later, though, she meets a boy and law school goes out the window.
Mm.
And she starts, she, apparently falls in love with this boy very quickly. Before I know it, she's talking about marriage. She's going to, another country to try on wedding dresses. She's upset that no one can be there to try on the wedding dresses, or to see her trying on. And so she asked me, could I virtually join her in the dress fitting? I said, sure, if that's, you ask me, I'll be there, and then, she asked me if they got married, would I hold a second ceremony in the US, because they were going to have the ceremony for her marriage in Australia, and they were going to live in Australia. And I said, well, I can hold like a celebration of sort, like a dinner, but I'm not going to hold a whole second wedding for you here if you're getting married in Australia. So for the people that couldn't make it, I was going to hold like a dinner. She said that was fine. He wanted to talk with me and get my blessing.
Nice.
So we arranged for that. And that was the first time I actually ever talked to him beyond just saying hello. So he and I had a nice conversation. We did a FaceTime, and then he indicated to me, I asked the questions because I was giving not only my blessing, but my late husband's blessing. So I asked some questions that I thought I really needed to understand, also to get to know him.
Mhm.
And he answered them. And then, of course, I gave him my blessing. I mean, they're both adults. They don't really need my blessing. They can get married anyway.
Sure.
So I gave my blessing, and I, said to him that I hope that he becomes as much a part of our family in the U.S. as he and she will be with his family in Australia, and that I look forward to seeing him at the Australia wedding.
Mhm.
And he smiled and he seemed happy, and then he asked me, could I help coordinate the proposal? He had some ideas, but he just wanted to pass them by me, and I said sure. So did that. And then that was that. So then about a day doesn't go by, and I start getting calls from her. And it's about 3 calls over a period of 2 weeks. And the calls basically boil down to she's trying to convince me that I shouldn't come to the wedding because, she's not going to be able to spend time with me. So I said, it doesn't matter the time. I would go there, fly 24 hours, sit in the chair for 1 minute, watch you get married, and then just, to turn around to go fly home if I needed to. I don't expect anyone to babysit me. I don't expect anyone to put me up. I just want to see my daughter get married. So then she goes, and the next call was, yeah, but we can bring the dress and the wedding dress and the tux back to the U.S. when we come, and we can take pictures with you there. And I said, it's not about the pictures. You're not getting this. You're my daughter. I want to see you get married. And this is all happening while I'm trying to deal with another ceremony that's happening for another child. That's a big deal, right? So I have to compartmentalize my feelings all over the place, because now I'm worried, I'm sad, I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, and then the third conversation was, well,
if you take a drive through any major city after sunset, you'll notice something really strange. There are dark windows and empty offices. Right now, 1 in 5 commercial buildings in America is sitting vacant, and nearly $1 trillion in real estate loans are coming due this year. If those buildings stay empty, the banks are going to take the hit, and those are the same banks where your retirement savings likely sits. So there's a new free report called the Ghost Tower Signal that breaks it all down. It uncovers 7 early warning signs that showed up before every major crash since 1929. All 7 are active again right now. This won't make the evening news, but it could help you protect your savings from what's coming. And you can download it free at cloutgold.com. That's cloutgold.com, cloutgold.com, or call 855-803-GOLD to get your copy mailed to you. That's cloutgold.com or 855-803-GOLD.
Boils down to what we have a little bit of time. I'm going to think about it, and things, you got to think about it, right? So a week goes by after that.
I'm sorry. Think about you being at the wedding, or think about having a wedding?
Think about me being at the wedding.
Your daughter said, I need to think about you being at the wedding.
Yeah.
And you had no indication that your relationship with her was in trouble at all before this?
See what I just said to you? I was at the dress fittings.
Right.
I agreed to have the U.S. celebration here.
Right.
I agreed to help coordinate the proposal.
Right.
Did I have, just based on those alone, did I have any indication that there was anything?
I don't know. I mean,
no.
You're doing a lot of.
If there was some sort of issue going on, why would you ask me to be involved in all of that?
I guess what I'm asking you is, in addition to her asking you to do all these things, which you did, which I credit you as there's the good mom things to do. Did she ever say, Mom, you're too intrusive, or Mom, I feel like you don't give me the love I need, or you favor other children over me, or I feel like you don't respect my choices, like anything like that?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Keep going.
So, so a week goes by, and I don't hear from her. Now we're talking like every week, every 2 weeks usually, right? So I didn't hear from her. So I'm like, so I call her. I was making dinner, and I call her, using WhatsApp, because we have a video chat.
Sure.
And she doesn't pick up. She hangs up. So I think, okay, she's on another call. She'll just call me back. So 5 minutes go by. She does, video chats me back. And I said, hey, honey, how are you doing? I said, I haven't heard from you in a week. I was just finding out, how are you doing?
Right.
And she goes, okay. She goes, listen, I might as well just jump right into this, because I know you're not going to like this.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what? Right? I said, and she goes, you're not allowed to go to the Australia wedding. She goes, and since you're working with a therapist now, I figured you can deal with it with him. And I was like, I didn't know what I just heard. I think I if I could hear my heart snap, I can't quite understand. Like I thought I heard my heart snap. I couldn't even I didn't know how to react.
And did she say why?
No, I I was just like, I said, what? And she goes, I looked at her and I said to her, I said, and I'm trying to like grasp for words though, because I'm trying to make heads or tails of this, right? So
Mhm.
I said to her, I must make you feel really uncomfortable. She just looked at me like with eyes that she knew what she was doing. She knew it was hurting me. And she just stood there, not saying a word.
So how did that conversation end? You said, okay, or I'll think
So
about it.
I said, well, I said, I guess there's nothing else to say. I said, have a great wedding and a nice life. That's what I said, and I hung up.
Wow. And can I just ask, did you not say, why, honey, why do you not want me at your wedding?
Quite frankly, when you're in that situation
Mhm.
and you say, I must make you feel really uncomfortable, and someone doesn't offer you anything back,
Right.
I that was her moment to say, no, it's this, right?
Well,
Or
you're not
like,
going to like, you're not, you may not like this, but I do feel kind of honor bound to be as even handed as I can because she's not here, right, to give her side of it. I could imagine. I mean, first of all, I don't want to minimize the shock and trauma and misery of that moment. I can't even imagine how painful that was. If she feels like, just guessing, you don't tune into her, right? She might feel like for you to say, I must make you uncomfortable, and then that's her moment to say something, right? Is setting up rules for her as opposed to, I really care about you. Tell me the reason, you don't want me there. I'm not saying there's a right way to behave in a moment like that. I'm just throwing that out there because to me subjectively, the natural next question is why don't you want me there, right?
well, I think in your situation, when you're sitting there and you're being able to discern, that might be the natural next question. But to me, it was like, I'm putting myself in her shoes now. And if
Mhm.
I was doing that to my parent, the
Mhm.
only thing I could think of was
Mhm.
that my parent made me uncomfortable.
I understand. Okay. So she didn't answer. And then
And
what?
she did not answer.
Right.
And so, and so, I sat, for 2 seconds. I was finishing making dinner, crying. I
Mhm.
made dinner. I gave dinner to my youngest. I didn't eat, and then I went to bed.
Mhm.
I didn't sleep, just
Mhm.
cried the entire night. And then next morning, I felt really like I felt, normally I say, okay, you know what? I felt like I had my blessing stolen. Like it was some sort of part of like some sort of, what was it? Why did you need my blessing when I wasn't even going to be able to come to the wedding?
Well, it is a mystery. I
Right?
mean,
There's
something's
more of
been,
a mystery. There's
sorry.
more of it to come down the
Okay.
line.
Like,
So,
Doormat Mom, can I just jump in? If I were a friend of yours, right, listening to this, I would be thinking, is it a scam over there? Is she in a cult? I would be thinking, does the other family want to isolate her so that they can make use of her for some reason? Is she going to be trafficked? Like, I would be very worried about all of those things because people do isolate, individuals when they want to absorb them into a cult or absorb them into something nefarious. So please keep going.
right. So,
These are concerning questions. Yeah.
I didn't get any feeling that that was going on, but I understand what you're saying, and those are valid thoughts, right? Um, so the next day, I FaceTime him. I don't FaceTime him. I sent him a Facebook message.
Okay.
And I said that I had to take my blessing back. Because, which was something that was really important to me to give, right? It was mine and my late husband's. I gave it. And then I'm told I can't come to the wedding. And I said to myself, no, that's my blessing to give. That's my, so I said to him that I had to take it back, that, that her dad would be ashamed of her. And I'm just hurt. And that even so, I'm sure, they'll still get married, and that I wish them both a lovely wedding and a happy life.
And you didn't ask him in that Facebook message or, directly, why do you guys not want me at the wedding?
I do not even think he knew.
Wow.
I don't not even think he knew. And then within, I would say, 2 days, I didn't hear from him, any of them. 2 days go by. All of a sudden, I get a reach out from her. And I think she's reaching out. It's like, Mom, I'm sorry. I lost my mind. The pressure hit me. I don't know. I made a mistake. No. And she goes through, she tries to get to me in multiple ways. So I know she's very intentional in trying to make sure this happens.
Right.
She wanted me to help her gather her paperwork and put it all together so that she could get married in Australia.
Wow. And you still didn't ask her, why don't you want me there?
I was so shocked.
Right. Okay, go on. Then what happened?
I was so shocked. So absolutely not. Did not. Because, here's the thing. That's not normal behavior. That is not normal.
I mean, what's normal behavior, right? I mean, our kids go through all kinds of things in their life.
Oh, come on. There's normal behavior and there's not normal behavior. If you're a caring, thinking, loving person, you don't do that to someone. You don't do that to someone off the street. You don't do that to someone. And so I absolutely was not going to participate. And I also know that I've raised very, very capable kids. And if she really needed to get that paperwork done, she didn't need my help. She could get it. Would be harder for her to do it, obviously, but she could figure it out. So let her figure it out, because at this point, I'm saying to myself, I have taken care of everything that she's needed in her life. I have loved her. I have been there for her. I haven't dropped the ball on her. I have done everything a parent could do for a child. Okay. And to even ask me that indicates that she had expected me to come through for her. And that was no. Now you're on your own. Right. Take care of it yourself. And that's
what did you say to her? Did you email her? Did you call her in response to her request for help with her paperwork?
No, just no. Not going to happen. So she said,
you just didn't respond to her?
No, I did respond to her. I said no. And then she tried to get
no
me.
Period?
No.
Doormat mom? No period? Just no, like, I'm not going to help you. No period?
No period. And then she sent a couple of people that she thought could get me to say yes. And I said, no. It's not going to, don't come to me. Don't ask me. It's not going to happen.
Okay. So you're estranging her at this point. You're closing a door to her.
No, I'm just saying that I'm putting down a boundary. That's not happening.
Okay. And you still didn't, I'm not trying to be unsympathetic. I'm just trying to understand. You still didn't, want to say to her, let's talk. I really want to understand what it is about my presence at your wedding that would upset you.
Did I ask that? You know what? No, I did not ask that, but let's stop looking at it as it's all on me to be obligated to do that. She's a grown woman. All right. If she doesn't want someone, especially a mother at a wedding, she should come with an explanation in hand. I shouldn't have to go after it and beg for an explanation of why I can't come to her wedding.
Right. So Kimmy Pollinger says, boundaries always reveal the truth. So that's interesting. You set a boundary, and then it looks like the rift between you became even more clear. And I'm really not trying to be hard on you. I'm really just
That's
like,
fine.
we all parent differently. And I think it would torture me not to know. As painful as it would be, it would be very impossible for me, because I'm an obsessive person, not to know why, like if I'm going to be rejected, it's going to break my heart, it's going to destroy me. But I would need that answer, right? Why? Right. But we're different people. So please, and it seems like more important to you is not to be mistreated, or not to have things be one-sided, not to be exploited. Is that a fair way to put it?
I think to expect to be at your daughter's wedding as the sole parent who raised her and raised her well.
Yeah.
And to then be told you can't come.
Oh, it's unacceptable. It's unconscionable. Totally. I'm not saying it's okay. It's not okay.
Yeah. But then to be put in a position we have to chase down the why.
That's true. I see what you mean.
Give me like, okay, that's not, how is that maintaining my own dignity? I mean, and the reality is, and let's take it a step further. After I was told I can't, none of her family members then got an invitation, not down to her grandmother. So
wait, none of you got an invitation to this wedding? This sounds like something very culty and creepy is going on over there. And so Kimmy says, you can't make someone say something they don't feel. Truth hurts sometimes. Interesting. So she's getting married, not inviting her 4 brothers and sisters, or, brothers and sisters and half brother, half sister, not inviting her grandma, not inviting anyone on your side. That's really weird. What's going on? Do you know what's going on?
I suspect that I don't think it's a cult. I don't think that this gentleman is. Look, if I could pin it on this gentleman, don't you think I would want to do that? But I'm not going to say it's not him. I think that my suspicion is that she has created a life for herself that negates her prior life from the stories would be conflicting if the two lives met. Wow. That's my suspicion.
Yikes.
I can't say for sure, but I think
how long ago did this happen?
2024 initially.
Before you said, so nearly 2 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago. And so did she get married? Like what's the story since then?
Yeah, she's married.
She got married without you, without her brothers and sisters, without her grandma on your side of the family in Australia, to this guy, but with all of his family there. Do you know?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess the thing about social media that must be so painful is you probably saw it all on Facebook, or saw some pictures from it.
As 1 or 2 pictures. That's
right.
it.
How extraordinarily painful that must have been. And did she reach out to you before, after? Did she come to America to have that dinner that she had discussed with you?
No. I mean, why would I'm not holding a dinner when I'm not invited to the Australia?
Yeah, no, fair enough. So she had the wedding. You guys didn't talk further about it. Her last communication to you was, I don't want you at the wedding. And then she wanted the paperwork and you said no. And is that the end of your relationship, or has there been anything since then? Is she happy?
It was the end. Well, it's been the end at this moment of the relationship. Is she happy? I'm sure she is. I don't know what to say.
But she's not communicating with you at all?
No.
Jeez. Have you tried to communicate with her at all?
No.
And so what led you, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
So here's the thing. When someone, again, when that is one of the most harmful, hurtful things you can do to a parent. For me to go chasing her down to have a relationship with me after everything, after loving her to death, after I mean, and then skewering me with that comment of, since you're working with a therapist. I was working with a therapist because I had raised my kids by myself. They
Mhm.
were all transitioning to the next step in their lives.
Mhm.
Under the best of circumstances, for any parent, that's hard.
Yeah,
I had to raise them on the worst of circumstances, so I devoted my life to them.
yeah,
And not that anyone was complaining to me, but
yeah.
I felt at the moment that I wanted to, inside, letting them go had been hard emotionally. So I was just working with a therapist to deal with that in me. No one came to me and said, Mom, you need to go to therapy, or
Right.
Mom, you're overbearing. Or
Oh,
Mom, no.
people say that to me every day. Mom, you need to go to
But
therapy. I don't even owe anyone
I
explanations.
wasn't even doing that. I was just saying, I was taking care of myself, and I had told them, and to take that and turn it around, the whole thing was cruel. It was just all cruel. And you're not, you can't flip it anyway. You can't say, oh.
Most people think inflation is the biggest threat to their savings, but there's something just as dangerous, and most banks never talk about it. It's the gap between what inflation is doing and what your bank is paying you. Right now, the average savings account pays well under 0.5%. One-year CDs barely do better. Meanwhile, inflation is still running several times higher than that. The difference acts like a hidden tax on your money. Every year, your dollars quietly lose buying power, even though your balance looks the same. And policy doesn't help. A weaker dollar may boost exports, but it also pushes up the cost of imports, energy, and everyday goods. That's one reason why assets like gold and silver have surged. So what's a saver supposed to do? Some people are moving into short-term treasury bills. Others focus on dividend growth stocks that increase payouts over time. But there's another approach that doesn't get talked about very much. It's a long-established company operating decades before AI became a buzzword that's now positioned to benefit from the AI boom in a disciplined way. Over the last 25 years, this approach has delivered an average annual return of 29% without chasing ultra-volatile tech stocks or risky speculation. If you'd like to learn more about what some investors are calling, quote, the 29% account, end quote, you can find the details at the link. Because when it comes to your savings, playing it safe may be the riskiest move of all. Go now to www.secret29account.com. Again, www.secret29account.com.
Well, how did she? Okay, she felt a certain way. Then bring it up to your parent and have a conversation.
Right.
You don't just say, Mom, you can't come to the wedding. If
Right.
she had problems, bring it up to me. You're a
Yeah.
grown up. You're getting married.
Yeah.
Bring it up. We would
Yeah.
have talked about it.
Mhm.
All right. And then she could have gone on, and I probably could, but she didn't want me there. If she'd wanted me there, that's what she would have done. So she
Right.
didn't want me there. She
Right.
didn't want a family there.
Right.
She set up some sort of life that excludes us. So conflicting lives is my only guess. And now she's on her way and she's living her life, and that's that. And so what am I to do? I can't sit here and I can't wait for her to go around. I'm certainly not going to chase her, because that's not going to bring her back. Let her go. I miss her. I love her. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about her, but I'm not going to apologize for going on with my life and then creating like a platform that's gotten so big, because so many other parents identify with what I've gone through in their own homes.
So let's talk about that, because your story is absolutely heartbreaking, very engaging. What's your daughter's name?
No, I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say her name. All right. Well, daughter of Doormat Mom, if you hear this somehow, because the internet makes the world very tiny, obviously the door is open on this platform to hear her version of events. And what would be really beautiful is to facilitate the two of you communicating, if you're ever willing. I'm just, I feel ethically obligated to say my door's always open for you guys to have a conversation, or for her to have to share, because I do feel kind of bad that, we've heard she's not here to explain, or defend herself, right? So I always want to give people that opportunity. But it's a horrible story. Whatever's going on, it's a horrible story. What do her brothers and sisters think is going on? Aren't they hurt also?
Yes, they're hurt, but I don't know. They're not, that's for them to share, not for me.
Right, I understand. Okay, well, I'm really sorry it happened. It's awful. Is there a cultural difference? Like, is her husband and his family like a different religion or a different, from somewhere else, that it's a very closed society and they don't want you because no. All right. Wow. Awful. And so you might be a grandma someday soon. And then what? Will you not see your grandchild?
That's probably it. Yeah.
Oh, how horrible. Well, I'm really sorry that happened. I wish I knew, I wish narratively I knew why, because it's so awful and out of the blue and miserable. But let's talk now about your huge platform and how many people are responding, because I know that's why I reached out. This completely inexplicable rift, the strange sudden nature of it. Other people are having these experiences.
Yeah.
People in my own circle have, this was worse a couple of years ago, but still happening. Like my daughter said, I can't, I have to reject you. Like, I gather there are whole sections of the internet that are about estrangement, or how to be estranged from your parents, or what line to draw after which you never speak to your mom or your grandma or your grandfather. It's absolutely catastrophic. And until the last few years, I've never heard of anything like this. Like, your parents are the people, or your family are the people that, whether you like them or not, you're stuck with them for life, and you have to work it out. So this is a whole new thing. So tell me what led you to go public with this, and then tell me, what the response has been. What are other people dealing with?
Well, it wasn't as if I had like a business plan for this. It was one of those things where I was so upset. I needed to find other people that I said to myself, there's got to be other people that have gone through this. There's got to be, but I couldn't find anybody.
Right.
So I don't even know where to turn to go to. So I went to TikTok. I said, okay, I'm just going to put a video out on TikTok and see if I can find anybody, like see what the experiences are. And so I did a video on TikTok. I did a very, very heavy-handed video. And it literally, the ripple effect was unbelievable.
What do you mean by heavy-handed? Like,
I said something to the effect, I said something to the effect, and I can't remember the exact wording, but were you a really good friend, parent, and end up raising a little bastard, something like that. I did.
You said that?
Yeah, I did. I didn't call my daughter a little bastard, but I just said, were you a really good parent who ended up raising, I said a little bastard. We have to basically, find each other, they come talk to me. And that was the gist of it. And there were a lot of parents that saw themselves in that video. And they started saying, yeah, I've done everything for my kid. I was a great parent. I didn't miss a beat for my kid, you get the stories were heartbreaking, what parents had done for their children who had been there, or even grandchildren were, babysitting their grandchildren every day. And because, one thing happened, they got cut out. And, and it just, so it shook the internet is what happened, and how I phrased it. And I just started getting bombarded. And I opened up the conversation. And, before I knew it, I was doing, so most of my videos, 99.9% of my videos were just basically talking about after I estrangement in general, parent-child estrangement in general. I wasn't talking about my own story, and that was the biggest criticism that I was getting from everybody, from estranged parents to estranged adult kids. What's her story? Because I wasn't sharing it.
Right. So now you're sharing it. So do you have a nonprofit, a book, or are you just going with your message and communicating?
No. So what ended up happening is I decided to write just the generalities of the story in a book, the first like 3 chapters, because I needed to establish like, why is she here? By this time, however, though, I had already had, thousands and thousands of followers and growing it from all over the world were coming to me and saying, this is happening here, and this is happening in the UK, and this is happening in Canada, and this is happening in Australia, and this is happening in Germany, and this is happening here, everywhere. And so I, wrote a book. I also launched a Facebook group because I could see on TikTok parents who had discovered each other wanted to now share their stories.
Right. I understand. Okay. So you've got a social media presence and you started this conversation and you're making a lot of media appearances about it. So it's happening all over the world. What do parents say is going on, and what do the estranged adult children say is going on? And do parents ever estrange from children, or is it always children estranging from parents?
It's like 2.5% of parents. No, it's actually 5% of parents estrange from children.
Okay. So what's going on? Is it something new? Is it just?
It's a lot of different things. It's just the it's described in a lot of different ways, but and there are a lot of different elements to it, including bad therapy practices, therapy.
Oh, I believe that. So the shrink will say, don't talk to your mother anymore. Don't talk to your daughter.
It's a lack of, also too, the lack of faith and foundational principles of family. Therapists have become the gods. Right. So that's when it's the lack of traditional family values that kept the family together. There's no loyalty. There's no obligation. If it's not easy, mom can go in a home. It's all those things. If you interrupt my happiness, you're no longer part of my life. And that's not the last choice. That's the first choice, because I deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to be uncomfortable. It's the easy attitude. If it's not easy, it's not worth it. It's family's influence has shrunk so much that the parents' influence over the child starts waning by age 7. So the parents now, where it used to be the parents had all the influence basically up through the years, or most of the influence, now it's not that. Their greatest influence ends at 7, starts waning by 15. They have almost no influence. It's the peers and the environment. And then by age 21, it's like there's no reflection of the parent in that child whatsoever. And what's the peer and the environment now made up of? What is that? Well, it's not anything good. And the environment is the global world. So what is it doing? And social media is causing trends. When one does it, the next one does it. And, so there's a lot of there's a huge, the cluster B mentality disorders that aren't being diagnosed. That's part of it. All right.
For people who don't know what that is, can you quickly summarize what cluster B personality is?
The biggest ones are, there's antisocial disorder, it's narcissism, there's borderline, and then I believe there's one other, and I can't remember offhand. But those, when done going undiagnosed, or when the parent doesn't know that their child has it, they're almost parenting backwards in the home. And so the child grows up with this disorder and, struggles through. And, there's a whole bunch of splitting and whatnot. The parent becomes the enemy as much as the best friend, and like the blink of an eye. So you've got things like that. You've got, what we're seeing in our world, what we're seeing in our nation, where there's so much hate and divide as it is.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when adult children say why they've estranged from their parents, for example, what's the number one reason they give? Is it personal or is it a political reason?
They
Is
give
it?
it all of it. It's all of it.
Can you
Politics
give
is
some
no.
examples? Sorry.
Yeah, politics is a big deal right now. Politics is a
So
lot of
adult children will say, or parents will say, my kids stopped talking to me because I don't agree with them politically, or what, like, give me some of the major
yeah.
reasons.
The adult children will say, "You voted for Trump. I can't be associated with you anymore."
Wow.
100%. Kids
Wow.
will say that. But I see it in the feeds all the time. I see it on my own pages, right? There's also like a daughter-in-law, son-in-law thing where you go into the married-ins and the marry-ins split the relationship too. And so our family is first. We don't marry in. You now come second. So there's a whole, I don't have to mold my way into your family because he's with me now. So,
Wow.
and so that's a big one. That's a big one. A lot of it comes down to, abuse, the term abuse. First, parenting has gotten to such a point where it's impossible to be the parent because the line is perfect, and everyone's got their own definition of perfect. So if you don't make perfect, then what they're being taught is they're not a perfect. There's no grace. It's fault. You go right from perfect to abusive.
Right.
Perfect to narcissistic.
Right.
Perfect to toxic, right? And there's no that middle ground.
Right.
And so they're very judgmental, and they really are entitled in so many ways. And you're seeing that play out. And and money is a big.
Can I just jump in to tease this out, because I know my audience is really going to want to hear, and it's probably resonating to a lot of what you're saying. So both sides, the parents and the children on the estrangement divide, have said, they'll say it's politics. I can't be in your life anymore. Then they'll say, instead of, in the past, they might say you're difficult or you're annoying, they'll say you're narcissistic or you're abusive or you're toxic, about just emotionally problematic things that used to be just part of having a family, right? They want you to be perfect at all times.
Right.
Then you're now going on to money. So what are some of the things that come up with money?
I mean, with money, I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen a lot of parents who these adult kids expect them to not, I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. There was one story where the parents, had raised their 4 kids and had done well and had provided for the 4 kids. And the 4 kids decided to get married. And one couple within the 4 kids was mad at the parents and cut them off because the parents decided to sell their 4-bedroom house, and they didn't downsize. They upsized. They bought a 5-bedroom house, right? And the child cut the parents off because he felt like, since he's struggling and he has a child, and that's the grandchild, that the parents should have sold their house, downsized, and give him the money, because shouldn't they take care of them and the grand? How selfish. Another one, let me tell you another one. This poor man, he married a woman, stayed married to him for all her life, had 2 kids. She ended up with a grave illness. Mm-hmm. The 2 of them decided to protect the children from the illness as much as he could. Mm-hmm. He was working 2 jobs. The illness got so bad that she would go to sleep, and during the middle of the night, she would, excuse language, shit herself in the bed. Mm-hmm. And he would pick her up every night as he's working 2 jobs to go and clean her up.
Wow.
All right, in the tub every night.
Oh my God.
Put her back. So she finally dies. He's heartbroken. He goes through therapy and everything. Finally gets himself back together. Mm-hmm. Finally starts dating again. Mm-hmm. Has a hard time dating. Meets somebody. Wants to get married to her. And his kids say to him, if you don't show us the paperwork whereby our inheritances, the money that you're going to give us when you die, isn't protected in the way that we want, all right, that we not only are we not going to see you again,
Oh my God.
your grandkids see you again.
Oh
I
my
would
God.
suggest you don't marry her.
Oh no.
And he married her anyway, and he hasn't seen his grandkids or his kids since.
Oh my God. This is so
So let me
terrible.
ask you a question. So to turn your interview on you for just a little bit, should
Sure.
this man have gone running after them like, well, why did you do this to me? No,
Right. Yeah.
no.
uh, Let me just be clear. I'm not saying you should have, far be it from me. I'm not a therapist. I'm not.
I'm just saying that, I mean, these are the circumstances that we're dealing with that,
No, it's appalling. I'm not, it's not a should, right? I guess, I'm very much conditioned by my own mother, right? And my own mother would say, because I would call her and say, I'm being treated this way, I'd be treated like that way. And she would always say, don't mirror image, meaning don't expect other people to treat you the way you expect to treat them. And she would also always say, it's better to be happy than right. And, she's a therapist. So she would always say, go find out what they're feeling, go listen or whatever, which is hard for me to do, right? It's a struggle all the time. So that's my struggle. It's not your struggle.
Yeah.
Like we all have our struggles with parenting. No, but I from everything you're describing to me, I don't think traditional familial listening is going to help because these are not, what's going on is really scary as you describe it. Family relationships are really turning into like shareholder or boardroom relationships,
right.
or there's a weird kind of Marxism that's colonized the family in which it's like, what can you do for me? You have the means of production. I'm an oppressed worker. You need to hand over the means of production. Like the whole idea in the West anyway of what a family is, which is a group of individuals who have undying loyalty to each other, is no longer exists from what you're describing. So,
right. But here's the twist, right? Here's the twist, and that's a great point that you brought up. But you're supposed to have the loyalty. The parents always supposed to have the loyalty. The parents are always supposed to rise to the occasion. The parents are always supposed to hold the line. The parents are always supposed to hold the obligation till the day they die. It doesn't matter then they're not kids anymore. They should do it. And that's the thing. It's almost as if, and I've had this conversation with a number of people this week, all right, but people who are just sharing stories with me of their own lives and people in interviews. It's almost as if you raise these children, you parent these children into adulthood, you've given them these great lives. I mean, they're all college educations, they're all working, they're all professionals, or what have you, and one of those guys gave this one kid $30,000 to buy a house for the grandkids that he can't even see now. But
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. But after working 2 jobs, by the way. So so the thing is, you raise your kids, you parent your kids to be these beings that are, and then and they're self-sufficient and everything. And then all of a sudden they flip the script and now they're trying to parent you and they're telling you what you can do and you like where they are. And does this guy who's marrying this woman, don't you think after he took care of his poor wife who passed away, raised kids, working 2 jobs, was able to put himself back together, right? Does he need to be parented to tell how he needs to, if in fact he does need to protect his money? And you know what? Let's get down to that. Didn't it just say it's his money?
It's his money.
He can donate it to the zoo after he's dead.
Well, that's one of the things I'm hearing that's so concerning to me. And which makes me wonder what kind of Marxist propaganda this next generation is being given on social media or in schools, because what seems to be being erased is the idea that the parents are individuals who have earned their money and that it's their decision. And if they want to leave it all to the kid in their will, they can do that. If they want to cut the kid out of their will, that's the story of many a Victorian novel. They can do that. It's their money. For some reason, why do these kids think that they're entitled to the parents' money or private life? Do you ever hear?
Yes, because they've been taught that they are, in fact, entitled, because they never, like I said, they never realize that they're adults, and that they are not, in fact, entitled to what the parent, they're not entitled to the time that, they drop everything and tend to your child, because it's a child, right? And the child, needs you at that second. They're not entitled to that drop everything, right? They're adults. They can wait. But
why do they think they're entitled? Like,
we never transition, because that's a cultural thing right now.
Right.
We're supposed to make their lives easy.
But who's saying that? Like, I would never assume that my mom is supposed to look after me once I'm an adult. Like, where's that coming from?
It's a shift in the culture. It's what's being taught right now. It's what's being taught. It's and it could go back to what you're saying, the socialist, Marxist, ideology that's been woven into everything that they, like the gentle parenting. We have to make sure that they're happy all the time, don't we? Don't we have to make sure that they're all, that they're all happy, they're all get their awards, right? So if they're not happy, we owe that to them, don't we? So that whatever that takes to get them happy, it doesn't matter if you're happy. It doesn't matter.
Why did they, like, I was a single mom for 12 years and my parents lived 2 blocks away. If they hadn't been helping me, I could not have raised those kids. Why don't adult children who might be tempted to estrange also calculate, I really need the grandparents. I need their involvement. I need their help. They help me when I want to date night. Like, why isn't the traditional value of grandparents making itself felt to these entitled young adults?
I know, it's a good question, because here's the thing, on the other side of that, then you'll get the screams from them that grandparents don't come and help.
Oh my God.
And then it's like, well, sometimes grandparents don't come and help because they're still working. Right. Because they took care of you all their lives, and they don't have extra income, because now they're hitting the hard times too. Or sometimes they won't come to help because, you know what, every time they do show up to help, you slam the door in their face, say you're not needed, because we're the family, and you get an allotted amount of time when we tell you, and that could be on a sliding scale. So it's like, so it's just like there's just so much. The grandparents have, in many cases, and then, there are grandparents that really want to be there, but, they're just, and there's some great families that are working. Okay. There's a lot of families that are not, and there are big complaints about that. Grandparents aren't showing up because now they're going to Florida because, well, how many times did you kick them out for them trying to show up and help? Or how many times did you tell them that, you don't have time for them? How many times have you ever just invite them over for a cup of coffee and say, I value you, Mom. I value that. No, are you always showing, are you only time you want to see them is when you need them? Horrible.
It's so horrible. Hey, Doormat Mom, if I may, because I know there's so much to ask. It's a little weird that I'm only hearing from 1 or 2 people. If you guys have questions or comments, please put them in the chat, because this is such an important subject. In your universe of estranged parents, I'm going to say, because I assume that's mostly who's talking to you, have there been any success stories?
Yes.
A, and B, I also want to ask before our time is up, what are you advising people to do? Is part of your mission, because your self-described title is Doormat Mom, is part of your mission to encourage people not to be doormats anymore? And does that change the dynamic? So start with the first one first, please. Are there any?
There are success stories. I've had 2 in my group, at least two in my group that, so there are. 2, I don't just hear from estranged parents. I actually hear from adult kids who are estranged, who would like to understand and would like to get my opinion on, should they go try to reconcile? How would they go try to reconcile? And I love those kids because they really do want to reconcile. They just don't know how to go about and do it.
Didn't they estrange themselves to start out with?
In certain cases not.
If they did it, why can't they just pick up the phone and say, Mom, I'm really sorry, Dad, I'm really sorry?
Because sometimes parents get to the point where they just don't want to open the door again because they've been through it so many times.
Wow. Geez. So people are estranging over and over?
Oh, it's like I'm stretching rubber band. It's called moving the football. They figure it out, and then they apologize, and then the football goes down the road again, and then they have to go through it
Oh
again.
my God.
Parents finally say it's enough. We're just not going down, going down
Why are they doing that?
because it's the dynamic that's been set. And they don't seem to be able to stick to the rules of what they ever just both decided. So that's what it is.
Oh,
But yeah, and what I'm doing basically is I'm raising awareness. Look, my goal, I would love to be able to see this entire epidemic turned around. That's my goal was and has always been to just raise awareness. It wasn't about my story per se.
right.
It was about meeting people and raising awareness. And the only reason that anybody knows my name is I was doxxed by, the haters were doxing me. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, that's how I got out.
Ugh.
It was never my intention to get out, but once I got out, I got out.
Mhm.
I really think in order to save the family, this needs to be changed because we've got a lot coming down the line. I just did an op-ed on, AI and how, look, we don't save the family, they're going to replace the family with AI, and everybody's going to get along there because you don't
Totally.
need the family
You need other
dynamic.
people, exactly. Yeah.
So, my goal is to mentor change in the right direction, bring families back together where I can.
And
And then
and
also
and how are you doing that? Like, what's the
by,
method?
through my various forums, doing
Right.
these interviews too. And then also, I'll be participating in a documentary that's being shot on this. And then just continuing to talk to people all the time and helping them to work out their issues. I mean, I don't charge anything. A lot of people will charge. I don't. It's not like looking. I don't. Like I said, I didn't start this. I didn't have a business plan. I was just one
Right.
woman with a story.
Right. Well, obviously you've touched a nerve. My goodness, Doormat Mom. And when people, I'm thinking of parents right now, kind of take an example from your model and stop enabling, I guess, right? And set boundaries. Do good things happen? Does it help the relationship, or does it just help them be less miserable in the estrangement?
I get texts and emails and notes and messages galore all day long, every day. I get people
Yeah,
calling
I
me
bet.
up.
Yeah.
And the thing that they say the most is thank God I found you because you saved my life, or thank God that I
Oh,
found
wow.
you,
Wow.
I thought I was alone,
Wow.
or God bless you. I had a gentleman call me out of Minnesota the other day. I was in the middle of a store and he's like, I hope this is you. Is this, and I said, yes. And he goes, I'm from Minnesota. I read about you and I just want to say thank you. I don't have social media, but I do read the news and I read your story. And
Right.
I'm so glad, that because I've been estranged from my son for 30 years and
Oh,
it's heartbreaking, but, and it's just like when I hear that,
oh my God.
when I hear that, you know, there's no one size fits all with these people,
Right.
but I have to tell you, the one thing I do see
Mhm.
is they are some of the nicest people
Wow.
I ever met.
Well, I believe you. I mean, it sounds like something we didn't talk about is drugs and alcohol, and child abuse. And the reason I mention that, even though we've run out of time, is that in the past, therapists would tell adult children to cut off contact if their parents were, like serious alcoholics and drug abusers, or if they had violated them in childhood, right?
Right,
Those were the very narrow
right.
conditions. And I thought that was extreme, but I saw the logic. So now it seems like there's been a kind of, mission creep almost, where just not being perfect or being annoying or being repetitive or any of the things we are, too intrusive, not intrusive enough, right, is included in that. This is bad enough to cut off contact with. What would you say to that?
I think you're right in that. I think it's everything and anything, everything and anything. The regular no given by a parent to just be a good parent is now this at the same level of actually someone physically abusing a child. It gets thrown in the same catch basin, and
Right.
that's really, really wrong.
Oh, so wrong. And I just want to say, I think it's going to get worse because when I was raising my kids, thank God for 1, 2, 3 magic, which is that's 1, that's 2, 3, you get a timeout. My kids are fabulous as a result of those clear boundaries, nonviolent, very effective. But I see that is considered abusive now, to give a timeout. Like I asked a caregiver, oh, can you give a timeout? And she looked at me like I had said, can you whip the child to death? And this gentle parenting, like the kids are told to reason, parents are told to reason with their toddlers, reason with your toddler. I mean, the next generation coming up is going to be even more insane and entitled and deranged. So on our last question, Medical Legal Solutions asks rightly, first, initially, parents feel very alone. A platform to speak about this issue opens your eyes that estrangement is an epidemic. So thank you for that. I think you are really providing an important service. Is this social engineered? And I'm going to say yes. We haven't even talked about vaccines, which may not be your issue, but in my community, that was a huge divider. That was like the test case for destroying families and friendships. But is it socially engineered? Do you want to speak to that as your final, just her or his comment as your final observation?
It is socially engineered, in my opinion. And I was just going to have a guest on who is an expert in vaccines, and he was going to talk about on my podcast how vaccines have escalated this issue as well.
Interesting. So any final words of hope, and where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at doormatmom.com, all one word, so that you can find everything there. Last words. I hope you never land in this boat, but if you do, now you have community, which you didn't have before. But you know where to go for support, and then there are some amazing parents there doing just that. So you're not alone.
God. Well, I hope, whether you want me to hope it or not, I hope all relationships heal, whatever that may look like, and thank you for bringing up as a matter for public discussion, something that so many people are suffering through, feeling very ashamed about, no doubt, alone. So I'm sure that's incredibly helpful. And everyone go to doormatmom.com and find out more. If you're suffering in silence, go find your community so you can get through this. And I'm going to let you go, Doormat Mom, if I may call you that. But thank you for talking to me, and thank you for your patience with my questions. This is an incredibly deep subject, and it took a lot of courage for you to talk about it and be patient as we all process what's going on. And this is a wonderful final thing. Our good friend Daniel Kawahai says, love you moms, and no matter what, you'll always be the mom. So keep fighting for your family. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Take care.
I'm going to say goodbye to you now so we can thank our sponsor, but we so appreciate you, and I hope we have you back. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm going to send you away, and I'm going to thank our sponsor. Wow, that was so intense, you guys. I don't even know how to process that. It's a lot to think about, but I think the last comment was very germane. Later on this afternoon, I'm interviewing a detransitioning mom who had a lot of difficulty giving birth. Obviously, we think that the whole, the youth thing, at least I think it has been, still is incredibly socially engineered. But I have to say, I think this estrangement thing is also socially engineered. Clearly, there's an attack on the family. Clearly, social media, I see it, I'm never speaking to my mother again. Like, I've seen those TikToks, not a lot of them, but in a million years, 10 years ago, you would not do a TikTok about and expect likes, to say, I'm never speaking to my mother again, or I'm never speaking to my father again. That would have been considered an existential breakdown. You should never agree to, no matter how annoying they are. Again, unless they put your life in danger in some mortal way, or your well-being in danger when you were a child. So this is terrible. We have to fight it. If any of you out there are raising small children, please ignore the advice to reason with your toddler, and please go buy 1, 2, 3 magic. not a sponsor, no conflict. You have to set clear boundaries, nonviolent, of course, boundaries with your kids, and expect good behavior from them, or they will turn into little awful monsters and civilization will fall apart. It's that simple. So thank you to Doormat Mom for talking to us. And we have to thank a couple of people too for making this possible, this conversation. American Alternative Assets. If you take a drive through any major city after sunset, you'll notice something really strange. There are dark windows and empty offices. Right now, 1 in 5 commercial buildings in America is sitting vacant, and nearly $1 trillion in real estate loans are coming due this year. If those buildings stay empty, the banks are going to take the hit, and those are the same banks where your retirement savings likely sits. So there's a new free report called the Ghost Tower Signal that breaks it all down. It uncovers 7 early warning signs that showed up before every major crash since 1929. All 7 are active again right now. This won't make the evening news, but it could help you protect your savings from what's coming. And you can download it free at cloutgold.com. That's cloutgold.com, cloutgold.com, or call 855-803-GOLD to get your copy mailed to you. That's cloutgold.com or 855-803-GOLD. And another very important message, Washington's 2-tier system. I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed the way Washington seems to play by one set of rules and ordinary Americans are stuck with another set? For decades, there has been a 2-tier financial system in this country. The political class and their donors do get access to the best financial opportunities, private deals, special investments, insider advantages. And ordinary Americans are told to stick with the same tired, inadequate retirement options to earn next to nothing and to hope inflation doesn't wipe them out. I don't think that was an accident. I think that was a policy. But here's what's changed. Under President Trump, that system finally got challenged. With Executive Order 14330, President Trump opened the door for ordinary Americans to have access to investment opportunities that were previously reserved just for the wealthy and well-connected, especially inside retirement accounts. No lobbyists, no special connections, just the same rules finally for everyone. And that matters right now because America is in the middle of a massive AI and infrastructure build out. In fact, it's one that President Trump has made a national priority. This is not speculation. It's not hype. This is real infrastructure with real capital and real money moving. There's one AI-linked income opportunity I've been following, provided by our sponsors, that's positioned to benefit directly from this shift without forcing people to guess which tech stock is going to win. If you want to see how it works and why this policy change matters, learn more at www.oxfordplan.com. Because for the first time in a long time, Washington didn't just talk about helping the middle class, it actually moved the rules in their favor. So discover Washington's 2-tier system at www.oxfordplan.com. Again, that is www.oxfordplan.com. Really important to know about these alternatives when we're protecting our income and our savings. And I've got a nice sign off, Naomi. As always, thank you for being a voice of peace, I think is where you're going with that in these days. Thank you all for listening. And at 4:30, I'm going to be talking again to this detransitioning mom who just had a difficult time giving birth. But you'll be able to see that and this on my Substack, Outspoken. If you can possibly subscribe over there, please do, because it takes resources to provide these videos to you and my essays. And also go over to Daily Clout. You can subscribe or donate there. And we also have BillCam and legisector.com, free tools or very affordable tools to follow legislation that affects you and your loved ones every day. So again, we need resources to keep these things going, to keep this independent media reaching you. So again, please don't forget to subscribe or donate if you possibly can. It makes all the difference. Take care, you guys, and I will see you later. Thank you for listening.